Welcome to the Franchise Raiders podcast. I'm Joe Arrigo with Franchise Sports Media. With me is one of our, well, I can't say newest because you are the newest
Mhm.
Raiders writer, but he's got a couple of badass articles on the website already. That's our guy, Ruse. What's popping with you, bro?
Not much. Just trying to stay healthy and safe in this madness.
I bet, man. Me too. I feel you. It's been a crazy one. So it's been a long week, and last week when I came on real late, but it was Knight and Chris and yourself who both had some obligations. So Chris won't be on the show tonight or next week. And so that reminds me, for everybody taking finals for their schools out there, good luck with that. You know, you got our best wishes for you to jump on everything. Um, but yeah, so tonight, we talked about, Booker signing and talked about some other things, but tonight we're going to talk about we're going to rehash some stuff and then talk about some new stuff. So let's start off with the Raiders schedule. Now, the Raiders schedule came out on Thursday, and I thought it was better than expected. I kind of foobarred one. I accidentally put that the Raiders are playing at home against Denver week 2. I meant to say November 15th, and the Saints week 2. I'm glad I got corrected. So thank you for those that corrected me. But overall, if you're a Raiders fan, you start off on the road against the Panthers. The first home game at the Death Star is the 21st, and that's the Saints week 2. Then you got the Patriots on the road, the Bills at home, and then the Chiefs to close out the first month of the season. So, Ruse, let's start with the very first game against the Panthers, man. Like, to me, that's a winnable game. The Panthers are rebuilding. They do have a quarterback who I feels, and I know it's kind of grasping at straws saying this, and maybe a little early, but I love Teddy Bridgewater, and I think him being there, he's a top 15 quarterback when healthy to me in the league. To have him, Christian McCaffrey, and then what they did where they drafted almost everything solely on defense. They have a really good nucleus up front on their D line, led by their first round pick Derek Brown. It's going to be a tough game, and I'm basing all this off of everybody being healthy. But I really like that as the Raiders could get off to a 1-0 start, heading to Las Vegas and play against then going against Drew Brees and the Saints. What do you think about Week 1, Ruse?
Yeah, I mean, week one, you always want to start off the season, obviously, on a high note. East Coast game. It's going to be an early kickoff, if I'm not mistaken. So 10 a.m. It shouldn't matter too much because it's the first game of the season, so they'll have plenty of time to be prepared for that game. One thing that you should keep in mind, Raider fans, is that this game is going to be played obviously in North Carolina. It's still going to be sweltering hot. It's going to be extremely humid. So don't discount what effect that's going to have on some of the guys. And if you remember, I think I believe it's 2017, we opened the season against the Tennessee Titans, and that was a pretty grueling and brutal game. I mean, that war of attrition, you got to be hydrated. You got to be ready to go. Guys cramping up in the second half. So something to keep an eye on in that game.
What's up to everybody entering the chat? Miguel, Roland Dubs, Hushan, Jeff Sykes, Raider 7528, just another DJ. I'm thank you for joining us tonight. Jeff said don't F it up, Ruse.
I
So
know
um, you know, you brought up the Titans, and I wanted to touch on something, and it clicked. Did you see the report? I
yes,
kind
I
of
did.
retweeted it yesterday, where they said Mariota in practice was killing the Titans, and the defensive team got better because he was so locked in and playing pissed off in practice and made the entire team better. And I got that, and the first thing I thought of was, ooh, this is going to help the Raiders defense, and this is going to help push Derek. And we're going to talk about Derek Carr a little bit later in the show about the article I wrote about thou shalt not cover the quarterback on Franchise Sports Media. So I'm looking at it, and I'm like, Mariota carving people up, dicing them up in practice. This could be a good thing for the Raiders, and I really like that. But I thought it was interesting that a Panther actually tweeted that out and had and was very open about how Mariota doing his job, how he converted that into actually, helping the team win by being the backup quarterback.
Well, keep in mind though one thing that was by I believe it was Logan Ryan who was a starting
That was
quarterback.
Logan Ryan. You're absolutely right. Yep.
Yeah. And Logan Ryan is not signed right now. He didn't get paid by Tennessee the way he wanted to get paid. So maybe that's his way of kind of throwing shade because this is the first time anybody's ever heard anything about this type of report. But I mean, if it's true, then that's excellent news. Because fundamentally, if you look at
Absolutely.
it, Mariota's a much better fit for Gruden's system than Derek Carr is, in my opinion, because he's short, precise passes, and he's far more willing and able runner of the football. But that's a different topic for another time. We could go on until midnight about
Maybe
Derek Carr.
next week. Maybe we rock that a
Yeah,
little bit next week, getting into that. And
yeah.
and then so let's get into the home opener week 2 against Drew Brees and the New Orleans Saints. This is gonna be a tough one. It's gonna be a Monday night football game, so it's gonna be we're gonna have it in prime time. And I will say, as far as I know, and what I've been told by people in and around the NFL, and I kind of touched on it last week, I was told that they don't expect fans at stadiums at least until November or December, if at all, next year. The Raiders haven't charged people, and some other teams haven't as well. Haven't charged fans for their season tickets in like 3 months. And there's talk that the teams in California may actually be playing in various places, like San Francisco down in Arizona, potentially the Rams and or the Chargers playing at the Death Star, because Governor Newsom in California is not doesn't want anything to happen as far as large crowds. So with that being said, the game against the Saints in week 2, who also have the same bye week as the Raiders, that's a game, and I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm not saying that I know this to be true. What I am saying is this very well could happen. They could actually move that game back because they have the same bye week. Should they have to start the season late, they can just cancel that Tennessee game, or excuse me, the Carolina game, cancel week 2, maybe go from week 3 and beyond. But we're talking as the schedule is currently. The Saints week 2 Monday Night Football. I'm juiced to be covering that game. Uh, I'm pumped about media wise being there to cover it. Um, that's gonna be a tough game because the Saints are one of the better teams in the NFL, not just the NFC. I but there's something magical about home openers. There's something magical about christening new stadiums. And I don't know. Would you know what exactly the Raiders' record is, and when they go back home, or they go to their new stadium, like when they went down to LA or when they went back to Oakland, what their record is in those 2 games?
I'm not sure. I know in '95, I was at that game. I believe we played the Chargers, if I'm not mistaken, back in 1995 in Oakland. I was at that game, um, but honestly, I can't remember. You got to tell me this stuff ahead of time, Joe, so I can prepare.
It just Man, this just hit me, brother. It just hit me like let's go. Like it just came in my head. But what do you think about week 2 with the Saints? Again, I think it's going to be a tough one because that's one of the better teams in the league.
I mean, you remember what happened the last time we played him in 2016? It was one of the most exciting, best Raider games probably in a really, really long time. Probably since the 2002 AFC Championship game when we beat Tennessee to go to the Super Bowl, really. I mean, that was a hell of a game. Crazy finish. It's going to be a tough matchup, because they got weapons galore. They got Drew Brees, they got Michael Thomas, they got Kamara. I mean, they can attack you from every angle. So, but like you said, don't underestimate, the power of a home opener. New stadium, everything, new city. But without fans, we're going to lose quite a bit of an edge in that game. If there's not going to be fans in the seats, that's going to sting, man. That's going to hurt.
Yeah, that Saints game story behind that. TQ was there in Emerald Suite with Emerald, and he calls me to go like a week ahead of time, right? Like, hey, let's go to the Saints home opener. We'll be in the box with Emerald, and I'm like, damn, that's some good food right there. And I know it's New Orleans. We're gonna party. Like, it's gonna be a good time. And I'm like, nah, man, I can't. I can't do it. I just moved to Vegas. Like, I can't. I gotta stay here. I regret not going to that game.
You missed out.
It was like literally like, yeah, it was horrible. Okay, Jeff says the Raiders beat the Chargers in
Yeah,
94 or 95, 17-7.
yeah.
So that was that. So hopefully we can get some of that good love and have that good karma coming back. The next two games, the Raiders travel to Foxborough to take on the Patriots, and then they have the Bills team, who I think is the front runner in that division, back at the Death Star a week later. Um, I tell you what, man, this the Patriot game is going to be interesting because I think it could be a changing of the guard. And what I mean by that is everybody remembers and knows the Tuck Rule game. Like that's as a football fan, you know that, not just as a Raider fan. And that was kind of the beginning. That was the beginning of the Patriot dynasty. Well, Brady's no longer there. Their quarterback situation, Stidham, I mean, he's unproven. And that's me being kind. Yeah, you have to deal with Belichick, but the running game doesn't have me going, ooh, they don't have any weapons as a receiver that make me go, oh shit, like we got to go after this. The defense has a tough time with this. Defensively, I think they're very good. But this could be the changing of the guard where Gruden kind of says, okay, hey, let me tell you.
Hmm.
Hey, Bill. Hey, Bill. All right, let me tell you. Let me tell you, Bill. It's our time to do something. You had your 20-year run, Bill. Okay? Okay? So I'm going to sip on my Corona, getting ready for you, listening to my heavy metal on my Sirius XM. We're going to come after your ass, Bill Belichick. All right. And that was a pretty good one this week, too.
That's because you're not drunk enough yet. That's why.
I'm not drunk at all. I don't get drunk. I
There you
don't
go.
get drunk. But yeah.
That's what every drunk.
I
That's
think
what
that's a
every
good.
drunkard says.
Nah, but hey, but honestly though, that's a game I think that it could be a changing of the guard where Gruden and the Raiders get to where they should have been when the NFL didn't screw them out of that Tuck Rule.
Well, according to some reports and some rumors, Cam Newton is likely to, or his most likely destination is New England. So whether or not that actually happens remains to be seen. But obviously they want to get him in the building, see how healthy he is, work him out, poke, prod, twist him, whatever, make sure his shoulder's good, his body's good. He's taken a punishment in his career, so but we'll see. One point I want to make about the schedule: if you look at the first 4 weeks, 3 of the 4 opponents were playoff teams in 2019. So, I know Raider fans, we want to get this stadium cracking and get this thing kicked off, but I think more importantly than kicking off the stadium against the Saints, we want to have a winning, successful playoff season. And our best hope potentially could be if the first 4 games of the year are canceled. So something to ponder and think about, guys.
I don't like that, man. I like neither do the players. It's competition, but
I agree.
for health reasons, I would agree. But the Bills game is going to be tough. But I think that's winnable. Again, the Bills travel cross country to Vegas, and by that time, casinos will be open. In fact, some of them are opening up in a matter of what's today?
Today's the 13th.
Today's date. The 13th. So some casinos are open up in 9 days, from what I hear. So you have allegedly. I wish I had to sprinkle allegedly like on Decent Samaro. Allegedly. But the Bills, that's gonna be a tough game. And then we get into, I look at the NFL seasons. Let me preference what I'm saying. I should have said this at the beginning. In quarters.
Yeah.
Okay, the first quarter of the season, if they go 2-2, that's successful for them. Because again, like you said, 3 teams that were in the playoff hunt. So that would make sense for them. 2-2. I like that. Now, then they play the world champion Chiefs in Kansas City. That's going to be an extremely tough game because it's the Chiefs. And they really didn't lose too much. In fact, they kept everything together, which is scary. But the caveat is, and what I like about this is for all the people talking head about Derek Carr, playing in cold weather. They're not playing in cold weather. They're playing in early October, which the weather there is probably going to be in the 50s or 60s. And you're going to have some breezes, but you're not going to have snow flurries. It's not going to be butt ass cold. It's going to be kind of cool. So in that regard, that's a good thing versus them playing maybe a month or two later in Kansas City. It'll be tougher for them.
Yeah, I mean the Chiefs just have our number. I mean it's almost like when Gruden's first go around in Oakland, the Broncos, he could never, solve that Bronco riddle. So it wasn't until Callahan came in, I think in 2002, when we beat Denver, I believe twice that year, to get to the Super Bowl. But it seems like Kansas City's his new thorn in his side. And it was also Jack Del Rio's thorn as well. I mean, Andy Reid's he's a hell of a coach. I mean, what can you say about the guy? So they're the champs until you beat them.
Exactly. That's where I stand. I'm not gonna. But I also I look, when you have the best quarterback in the game right now playing for you, and you have one of the fastest receivers and one of the best tight ends and a very good complementary receiver and another fast receiver and an okay running back and a pretty damn good offensive line with a good defensive line, an okay linebacking core, which got better with my guy Chip Gay, and then a secondary, which I think is kind of that's gonna be a game they're gonna have to air it out. And I think that's gonna be a really good game to see where the Raiders defense is actually at. You know what I mean? I think that'd be a good game for kind of
We'll know week one. Christian McCaffrey. I mean, that guy's unbelievable.
Yeah, I've never been a big McCaffrey guy. He went to Stanford.
I don't like him either, but look at the production. I mean, you can't argue with it.
No doubt. But I mean, that's okay. The NFL is weird. It's just like any pro sport. You give a guy an opportunity to go out there and ball out, they're going to do it. And you're putting the ball in his hands. And of course, when he gets the ball 200 times or whatever it was last year, I mean, he had 1,000 yards receiving, 1,000 yards
400
rushing, right?
touches, I believe. Well over 400 touches.
Yeah, yeah, of course he's going to be unbelievable. But I also watched them get punched in the mouth last year and crumble and fall. And that was with Kyle Allen as quarterback. So it was a better team. I don't know. McCaffrey's all right. He's really good. If you're a fantasy guy, you love him. He's a really good football player. I don't know. I'm not a fan.
You're just hating. It's cool. We all have our guys that we don't hate.
Like. If I don't like it, I don't like it. That don't mean that I'm hating. Okay, I just don't like him.
I don't like him either. Trust me.
Hating's when I'm like, man, like anything Minnesota Vikings. Like I hate them. So I mean, don't even bring that up. To me, at least.
You brought it up.
Then I know that's what I'm saying. Like this is the hate factor. Then you got the Tampa Bay Brady's coming in on the 25th. And that's the Monday night game, which is, I think, that's going to be a tough game. But, I had an interesting thought about the Buccaneers when I was in the shower today, when I was thinking about the schedule and just about teams. And I was actually listening to Sirius XM NFL channel, and they're talking about Brady. And somebody asked some lame question to another shitty Brady named Brady Quinn. And it was like, which team would you rather play for if you're came out of retirement, the Buccaneers or the Saints? The Buccaneers, but, and I started thinking about it. You know what the Buccaneers remind me of?
Who's that?
A more expensive version of the Cleveland Browns last year.
I don't know about that.
Oh, the Browns are the favorite. They could potentially play for the AFC title. They're going to win the AFC North. Odell Beckham, Jarvis Landry, Baker Mayfield, Nick Chubb, Myles Garrett. Like they go off with this whole tangent about the Browns and they shit the bed. Now, I'm not saying that's going to be the Buccaneers, but if you look at Tom Brady over the last couple of seasons, he's not the Tom Brady of old.
Yeah, his play is he's not that falling off. I agree. Exactly. I mean, Father Time's undefeated. Like you can only defy physics for so long. At some point the wheels are going to fall off. He's going to wake up one day and he's just not going to be able to play.
exactly. And you look at the Buccaneers. I mean, Mike Evans is hurt. Do they have a running game? Gronk has been hurt. I mean, he took the year off because he was hurt. Honestly, he was just mentally worn out and he was hurt. Like there's a lot of injury questions on that team. Their offensive line isn't the greatest offensive line in the NFL. So let's pump the brakes, on that. And look, let's be real. Bruce Arians, he's a phenomenal. He did a hell of a job. He did a great job in Arizona. He did a great job when he was the OC in Indy. I have
Pittsburgh.
no qualms with Bruce Arians. Yeah, Pittsburgh, what he did in Pittsburgh with Big Ben. But I look at that Bucks team last year and they underachieved. And not all of that was on Jameis Winston. He played a major role, but not all of that was on Jameis Winston. And one of the quotes that came in, I think says, "Didn't the Bucks draft the line help?" Yeah, they're rookies though. Who's to say they're going to be any good? How many? I'll throw a name out there that's going to piss off Raiders fans. You
Colton
drafted
Miller.
Robert Gallery to be the number one, your left tackle for years, a fourth overall. You passed up on what? Hell of a, Adrian Peterson and some other, well, not Adrian Peterson. He
Fitzgerald.
was the Jamarcus Russell. Yeah, Larry Fitzgerald. And
Ben Roethlisberger.
you passed up on a bunch of guys. Yeah. And you drafted your left guard, fourth overall. And he was, all right. But he wasn't fourth overall where you want to impact Hall of Fame type guy. So just because they draft high or they drafted a couple offensive linemen doesn't mean those guys are going to be any good.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I thought you were going to jump in there and kind of throw some at me, brother.
No, I mean, you pretty much said it. I mean, nobody, put it this way. I don't think anybody outside of Tampa Bay wants to see Tom Brady go to New England and ball, or go to Tampa Bay and ball out. Like, nobody wants to see that. So we're going to find out, was the mastermind Belichick or was it Brady or was it both? I personally think Belichick he's the man. I think had Drew Bledsoe not have gotten injured, more than likely he probably would have won at least one Super Bowl in that first, 3 that they won.
No doubt. I would agree with that. And just another DJ, do I take into consideration the weapons Brady had last year? I do, because those are the same, other than Gronk, the same weapons he had when they went to the Super Bowl. It's just that guys get hurt. And he actually had Josh Gordon for half the season and AB for a game or two. So, I mean, I'm just saying, like, Brady ain't that guy anymore. And I'll be the first to say it. And I see decline in his game the same way I see decline in Aaron Rodgers' game, the same way I see decline in Ben Roethlisberger's game, and even in Drew Brees' game. Are they at the end of their career? No. But they are, in fact, or I mean, are they washed? I should say, are they washed? Are they Phillip Rivers washed? No, but they're at the end of that career. Raider Rich, what's up, IE brother? Nah, the lines aren't open because Knight's not here. Knight got the phone line, so no, there's no lines tonight. You're gonna have to type everything in the comment section, homie.
You got to do it the old-fashioned way, Rich.
Yep. Sorry, brother. So we got the Cleveland Browns. The Raiders travel to the Cleveland Browns on November 1st, and then to LA to take on the Chargers as of right now. The Brown game, that I like them in that game. But I think the Browns are going to be better than what they were last year because there's going to be discipline. There's not going to be, it's going to be black and white. There's not going to be the gray area that Freddie Kitchen kind of allowed everybody to live in. And then that Charger game, that's going to be a tough one. If fans are there, what's up, Hub City Tay? When you look at the Charger game, with fans not there, it's going to be a typical Charger game, except Raider Nation isn't going to be owning the new SoFi Stadium. That defense is so damn good. And they got better. I mean, with Kenneth Murray added to that. And if Denzel Perryman gets hurt again and you got Kenneth Murray playing that position, you got another 3-down guy that can go sideline to sideline. That's a tough game. But again, quarterback play, and I'm not an Austin Eckler guy. I'll say right now, the Chargers will be drafting a running back high in next year's draft because Eckler's a very, very good number two. He ain't a lead dog. He ain't that bell cow back that they would like to have, even because they want to rely on that running game. And I don't think Justin Herbert's they don't I know for a fact they do not want him starting a single game this year. They want him to take a redshirt year and learn the offense.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, the Chargers, we basically own LA. So earlier today, the Rams, we'll get into this a little later, but the Rams released their new uniforms, and I tweeted out that the Rams can change their uniforms as often as they want. It's not going to matter. The Raiders own the LA market, period, point blank, end of discussion. So Charger games, it's it's a ninth Raider home game. So, we'll just leave it at that. A healthy Derwin James, though, he's that chess piece, man. That dude, whew,
That's my
he's that.
guy.
Uh, that's my guy. He's the alpha male of all alphas. I mean, he's a
I
head
Chris
topper.
Chris Sproul, Chris said he'll never forget when we were doing last year or a couple years ago when he came out. I was like, that's the best player in the draft. Like that's my guy. Like and
Yeah.
Chris Chris was like, man, I can't get over that. You actually had the ball. You were saying that. And I was like, yeah, that's just what it is. So then the next two games are the Broncos and the Chiefs at the Death Star. And I know with the Broncos, they they look good on paper. And I could actually make the argument, and I think I made down the road that KJ Hamler, their second round pick, is gonna have a bigger impact than Jerry Judy, only because not because I don't think Judy's that good, because I still say he's the number one receiver in this draft. I'm not disputing that. I'm not changing that up. But the explosiveness that Hamler has, he's short, but he can just do so much. If they can keep their offensive lineup intact for Drew Lock, they could have something cooking there. And I will say this, and I'll kind of break some news here, and people can tweet this out all they want. I was told that Philip Lindsay, the running back, was pissed that they signed Melvin Gordon, and is not happy. And when he can walk, if Gordon's still there, he's walking.
Yeah, I don't blame him. Well, yeah, back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons, and then they go out and give all this money to Melvin Gordon. I mean, Melvin Gordon's a good player, but I mean, he's had a lot of mileage on him. I mean, he took half the season off last year, basically, but he was in his contract dispute. But yeah, I mean, Lindsey, yeah, back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons, and I don't know. That's an interesting move. About Hamler, what you mentioned, that's actually a really good point. I think Hamler fits with Locke better because Hamler's just pure speed guy. I mean, he can get down the field in a hurry, and that's Locke has the rocket arm where he doesn't have to be so accurate. He can run under it. With a guy like Judy, because he runs such precise and quick routes and gets open rapidly, I don't know if Locke has the accuracy or the type of passer. It might take him some time to build that chemistry. That's actually a really good point. I didn't even think of that. So
I got one.
there you go.
I finally got one.
Hey,
Oh, the next 2 weeks, the Raiders are on the road to Atlanta and the Jets. Both games I think should be wins for them. As long as they stay out of Magic City, the GC, and Follies in Atlanta and 112, they should be okay. And in New York, it's as long as they don't shit the bed like they did last year. I think that's going to be a redemption game. Then you have the Colts traveling and the Chargers both traveling to Vegas. And then finally, the last two games, the Raiders' final home game is 2 days after Christmas, which is against the Dolphins. And their final game is on the road in the cold in Denver. So I'm not going to ask for a record. Um, I'm not going to ask for a record because it's too premature for that. We don't know what guys are going to get hurt and what guys aren't. You know what I mean? We just don't know that, and that plays a big role in everything. But to end 3 your last four at home, I like that for the Raiders because they can take advantage of that, and especially if the United States and the world starts moving again and people are getting active, and Vegas starts being Vegas again, at least some type of normalcy. That's gonna play a good role for them. That's gonna, to me, I like that, and I think the Raiders are a legitimate playoff contender. I'm not gonna give a record right now. I'll do that in one of our shows, either here or with Q on Q&A when we drop that at the appropriate time. But I think they're a team that's going to be contending for a playoff spot. I think the Raiders have improved themselves that much over the last year.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen. I mean, what's going to be the offseason program like? Are they going to have mini camps? Are they going to have OTAs? They said they're going to have virtual walkthroughs or something, is what I heard.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, how's that going to work? Like, are some guys going to be disciplined enough to work out on their own? Because you got a lot of guys that, if you're not supervising these guys, their weight can, especially the linemen, their weight can balloon, you know. And I'm talking about you, Trent Brown. When you're healthy, you're a beast. But man, history has proven that when he slacks off or he's not motivated, that weight he can pack it on with the best of them. But we really need a healthy Trent Brown if we're gonna have any shot this year. But
I would agree.
yeah. But the season, we don't know. There might not even be a full season. Like I said, they might just wash away the first 4 weeks, or maybe it might be longer. Who knows? Maybe they push the season back a little bit further. I don't know. The Super Bowl is going to be held in Tampa. Tampa generally has really good weather all year round, even in the wintertime. So, it wouldn't be.
In Florida, if we see Florida's governor say if teams on the West Coast don't want their teams to play, they can always come to Florida. They'll gladly host them for the year.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Well, they could save some money on income tax too.
Yeah, they could do that in Vegas. If Sisolak opens it up, that's the governor, Steve Sisolak, friend of the show, by the way. Steve Sisolak, friend of mine. Um, I'd say that the Raiders got better over the calendar year, and they got better yesterday with the news of Prince Amukamara signing with them, the defensive back, former first round pick out of Nebraska. He was with the Giants, the Bears.
I think he went to Jacksonville.
Yeah, Jacksonville
after New York,
yeah.
then the Bears.
Yeah. I know Vic. I think it was Vic or Vinny. One of the two said that
I think it was
they
Taper.
think he's gonna. It was Vic that said something that said that he's gonna allow Arnett to grow into a starting role. It's like a 1 year stopgap. I don't know what the deal is in terms of like dollars of what he got paid.
Can't be much.
I don't know if he makes the team. Like, let's be real. He was a turnstile in Chicago. I watched that firsthand. He was a turnstile in New York. That's why he's no longer there. Jacksonville didn't bring him back. You were a first round pick, but you're toasted a lot, homie. Like Prince is toasted a lot. Now, I'm not saying he isn't good. I'm not saying he ain't the guy. But I'm not looking at him to be the difference between making a playoff and not making a playoff. You know what I'm saying? He's just he's on the team. You know what I'm saying? Like he's okay, Prince Amukamara. What do I expect out of him? To not lose a game. That's what I expect out of him. To play some solid defense because they're going to throw at him or they're going to throw at Mullen, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, just don't get burnt. That's it. Don't blow the coverage. So, I mean,
don't be a burn victim.
There you go. We want to go gluten free here. We don't want to get toast. So, the Prince, I don't know. We'll see. That's going to be an interesting signing. I think with all the turnover that we have and uncertainty at the cornerback position, I think it's cheap insurance. We don't know what is guaranteed. We don't know what the money looks like. So let's wait till the numbers come out and then we can, dissect it further. But I don't mind the signing. I mean, Tafer had said that they were looking to add a veteran corner, and the Eli Apple deal obviously didn't work out. So they've been targeting a veteran starting cornerback on the outside for a while. So he's strictly an outside guy. You can't put him in the slot. So he doesn't have the short area quickness to move around like that.
Not at all. He but Richie says Prince is better than Lawson. Bro, I'm better than Lawson right now, fat and out of shape.
And you're not
Like,
suspended for week 1 either.
yeah. What I think this comes down to is Isaiah Johnson's health, whether or not he's healthy. And then guys who can stay healthy, because I mean you have Arnett, you have Johnson, Mullen, uh, Nixon, uh, Amik Robertson, now Prince. I mean Lawson is there. There's some guys there, but who's going to stay healthy? And in a division where you do have to account for Tyreek Hill and Sammy Watkins and Travis Kelsey, you do have to cover Noah Fant, now Jerry Judy. Um, was it Sutton? Is the young man's name in Denver?
Cortland Sutton. Yep.
Cortland Sutton, and then and KJ Hamler. When you do have Keenan Allen and Mike Williams and Hunter Henry in LA, excuse me, you have a division like Gil Brandt said. It's like the Big 12, and you have to have guys because you're going to have a lot of DBs. Which leads to the importance of a guy like LaMarcus Joyner. I mean, and you've talked about it that the Raiders have started to he's going to get some time at corner and safety, which he has to play better than he did last year. He's on notice, I believe. Um at the same time, it's he's a damn good football player when healthy, and I think he was just too dinged up last year. But he's getting paid a hell of a lot of money, and it's basically the final year of a contract that the Raiders can get out of.
Yeah, I think with Joyner, he they had really high expectations because they targeted him early in free agency. Like he was their guy. Like they really wanted him because they wanted him to be that slot corner because of the division that we play in, because of his experience. He played he had a lot of starting experience in the league and multiple positions. So, I'm just going to be honest with everybody here. I think if it wasn't for his contract and the guaranteed money that he's owed, there's no way he would be on this roster right now. That's my personal belief. So
I would agree.
And if he was going to be on the roster, it would have been after he took a pay cut, because nobody after the season he turned in last year, nobody was going to give him the kind of money that he got paid. So
hell no.
And that's what happens, which kind of leads me into a segue, a quick announcement. I have a new article coming out, not this week, but it's going to be next week, about the importance of drafting the wide receivers and the cornerbacks in this league. So look for that to drop sometime next week. That's kind of go deeper into that, but we won't talk about that tonight. But planting the seed.
The Gruden article that comes out later this week is a damn good article.
Yeah, the Gruden one. There's a Gruden article that we're putting out that I wrote. Should be out this week. Everyone should definitely check it out. It's got some interesting perspective in there that you won't find anywhere else.
Well, since we're talking about articles, let's talk about, because I know I caught some hell for it, and I got a lot of love for it too, which I like, about my car article about religion and car and thou shalt not covet another quarterback. And I know that Raider Rich is killing me over it because Richie is a get car the hell out of here guy. And I'm okay with that, Rich. I am. But here's my problem. You gotta be careful what you wish for. Now, Jim Plunkett, other than Gannon for that 3 or 4 year span, the Raiders went through quarterbacks like Prince went through women. Like it was 2 or 3 a year. Like honestly, I mean, you had 1 year with Schrader, Berline, and Marinovich, I believe. Like it was something crazy like that. And next year was Marinovich and somebody. And then it was all over the place. And then you get Gannon for that span, that those couple years. And even a couple of those years, he didn't start every game. There's other guys that had to come in there. And then Carr comes in and he stabilizes it. He stops the bleeding. Like, that I'm not saying that Carr is the end all to be all and he's the top 3 quarterback in the NFL. But what I am saying is, if Raider fans want a quarterback that's going to yell and scream and berate teammates and curse them out and get in Gruden's face and get in teammates' face and stand on a podium and walk off because he says some stupid ass thing and how you like me now or how about that or whatever it is, then yeah, Derek Carr's not that guy. You know what I'm saying? But Derek Carr's going to be come up on stage when the times are tough and say, hey, look, we're doing all we can right here. And it's on me. I made this decision. Even though in that offense, those checkdowns that people are pissed off about come from Gruden. Because it's a triangle read offense. You're going 1, 2, and check down. 1, 2, and check down. It is up to your running back or your short receiver to get the yards after the catch. It's not all on Carr. And he takes heat. He's taking more bullets for head coaches and players that run wrong routes, their route adjustments are off. He takes more bullets for them than I think any quarterback in the NFL at this point, for anybody. He's like, hey, yo, that shit's on me. My bad. That shit's on me. Me personally, I said this from the beginning. He has to have talent around him. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Saying that he's got to have some guys around him that can help him make plays. And I think, and there's not a damn thing wrong with that. So why is it a problem now that Carr is having some of these issues? Or it's on Carr? No, it's on Reggie McKenzie. It's on Jack Del Rio. It's on, was it Allen, who was there ahead of time?
Dennis Allen.
It's in his offensive staff. And yes, it's on Gruden. It is what it is. And right now it's on Mayock as well. Mayock's doing everything he can to get him weapons now. He got him the running back. He's got him 2, I think, or 3 really good young receivers with the 3 guys they drafted the last 2 years. I think Bowden's going to be a stud. He's got him a really, really good upper echelon, top 5 in the NFL tight end in Waller. He has pieces now. Let him work. But if you want the guy that's going to sit there and motherfuck a coach and just go off on, Carr's not going to be that guy. There's other athletes that had some type of religious belief. If it was Christianity with Reggie White or Tim Tebow, the Muslim faith with Muhammad Ali, those are guys that were deeply religious and they were good and very good at what they're some of the best to ever do at what they did. Tebow in college, Reggie White, I think, is the best defensive lineman to ever play in the NFL. And Muhammad Ali is the greatest boxer that ever lived. Period, point blank. But never once was their religion like the crutch for fans to rip the guy. You could say, I don't like what he did in last game. He didn't take off and run, or he didn't do this or that. I get it. But my last point with it, Ruse, when I want you to jump in, because you read it, and we've talked about this, in our just regular homie conversations. You're not in the offensive meetings with Gruden. You don't know what the game plan is each week. You don't know the offense at all, other than what you've seen on ESPN, Spider 2Y Banana. The All-22 is not the God. You have 3 seconds or less to make that decision of where you're going to throw the ball. The all 22 can be very deceiving. So just because you pick up the sticks and play Madden, or you could do some simulation game on whatever system you have or computer system, you mess around with, or because you think you know it because you played it at a high school or junior All-American level, maybe even junior college, or coach at the those same levels, don't mean you know what the hell the Raiders are doing. Carr does. He knows the offense front, back, side to side. And there is not one quarterback right now in the NFL that could come in, pick up this offense, and know everything from line calls to check with me's to the route adjustments to the side adjustments to everything like Carr does. And that's the reason why John Gruden and Mike Mayock, who have been on record as saying the quarterback position is not the biggest problem on the team. It's the defense and the playmakers around the quarterback position. When those guys are saying it, that's when you take notice. But when Gruden says, hey, we got to find another guy to play quarterback, he just ain't that's when you take notice. That's when there's a quarterback problem. But right now, there really isn't, because there were at least 22 teams in the NFL that called and checked with the Raiders at the scouting combine and after to check about Carr's availability because they like Carr. Some of them wanted him to come in and start. Some teams wanted him to sit a year and then be the heir apparent. A lot of teams and NFL people love Derek Carr.
Yeah, I think with Derek Carr, he's very polarizing, right? He's the favorite punching bag of Raider Nation. When things go well, it's like, oh, well, that's what he's supposed to do. When he has a bad game, like, God, we need to get rid of this Carr guy. He's 1-10 in his career in games under 45 degrees. Can't win in cold weather. Can't beat playoff teams. And there is some truth to all that, but not every quarterback is going to be Tom Brady. Not every quarterback is going to be Aaron Rodgers or Drew Brees or Patrick Mahomes. Those guys come around once every 10, 15 years. With that said, my beef with Carr, or my biggest sticking point with Carr, is the type of quarterback that he is. You got to give him a Rolls Royce to drive. He's not going to take that Toyota Camry and take you to the playoffs. He's got to have a top 5 offensive line because he doesn't like to get touched. When he gets hit, all of a sudden he gets frazzled. I mean, you could see it in his eyes. Like, he gets this glossy look in his eyes and he gets flustered quickly. Then he tries to get rid of the ball even faster. Obviously you need to give him weapons. Every quarterback needs weapons, right? We've invested heavily in the receiver position. And as you mentioned, we have an outstanding tight end. We drafted a running back in the first round. All that is a lot of capital, a lot of money being allocated to the offense to make Derek Carr, to give him what he needs to succeed. So, the excuses are over. This is it. He knows it. You know it. I know it. Raider Nation knows it. Like, Carr's got to step it up this year. You can't chuck the ball into the dirt. Like, that's just not acceptable. And I'm sure if there's any play that he could ever take back more than the fumbles out of the back of the end zone, it would probably be that ball where he just threw it into the ground. I mean, that's you're just killing a play in essence, especially when you could have ran for the first down. But
okay, you brought up he needs a Rolls Royce. Well, let's be real about something. So did Jim Plunkett.
yeah,
Jim Plunkett wasn't shit with the 49ers or the Patriots, but yet Plunkett goes to the Raiders and he wins the Super Bowl and he's a god. So did Rich Gannon. Rich Gannon was a shitty quarterback in Minnesota, a shitty quarterback in Kansas City, but you go and you come in with Tim Brown, Jerry Rice, Porter, that running game, that offensive line, all of a sudden he's an MVP. Just because a guy isn't Rodgers or Brady or Breeze or Mahomes, and we haven't seen Mahomes without weapons. So
yeah.
we can't say Mahomes is in that category. He may have to have weapons to make him the guy. There's no difference of that with Carr. In all honesty.
I mean, last year we started a game with Keelan Doss and Zay Jones at wide receiver, bro.
And Rashard at running back.
So, I don't even think Patrick Mahomes is going to win with those guys. I'm sorry. He's just not.
And there's plenty of guys. There's plenty of guys in the NFL, players that don't play well in cold, Rich. Plenty of guys that don't play well in cold. Hell, people talk about Brett Favre. I remember for so long people talk about Brett Favre is 40-0 or 28-0 when it's whatever it was, when it's 40 degrees or below. Yeah, but he had a defense that was playing near the top in those games as well. Um, so I don't want to hear about guys in the snow. Guys around him have to make plays. Guys can't drop balls. Guys can't run the wrong routes. Guys can't give up on balls when they're thrown.
Amari Cooper.
That's exactly what I was thinking about in Kansas City at that. I remember that game. So I don't blame Carr for all of that shit necessarily. If I'm being all the way 100 with it, there are things where you're like, damn, what are you doing? But then he makes plays where you're like, yo, that's the Derek Carr I want. That's the guy that I expected to be the Raiders quarterback and be that guy for, the franchise guy, the guy that when he went down with a broken foot, he was like, fuck, it's broken. You seen him curse there. He curses. And I got a text at that time when I had hit the Raiders about, yo, how bad is it? And they told me, this was during the game. Somebody told me, and I talked to him a couple days later. And I said, yo, so what's the deal with Carr? We got one of the best young quarterbacks, and we're going to lock to a deal. He's our franchise guy. That's coming from somebody high within the organization, and it texts to me. That's how they felt about him, and they still feel that way. This guy's done everything that they have asked him to do, and then some. Everything. You want take the bullets, be the face of the franchise, be the stand-up guy, be the guy that everybody turns to and looks to when it's adverse circumstances. He's that guy. He's not the guy that in a Super Bowl is going to get up and walk out and be like, I don't know. He's not Cam Newton.
Scam.
Scam Newton. Yeah, I forgot. I call him that too. He's not that guy. He's not the guy that's going to throw his teammates under the bus as unnamed players aren't happy with the way coach calls games. He's not that guy. He owns and puts his name on everything. He is what you want your kids to look up to in terms of a role model.
Yeah, I think Derek Carr, my personal belief with Carr, I always root for him because he's just a very likable human being. Like, he's a good dude. Like, deep down, he's just a genuine, like a great guy. But whether he can take that next jump remains to be seen. I mean, someone just said, yeah, he's a true Raider. He is. Like, Carr he was born and raised a Raider fan. I mean, he proudly displays the colors. He plays hard out there. I think sometimes he has even mentioned this, but he gets a little too excited for games, or especially earlier in his career, where he had to learn to calm down so he wouldn't make mistakes or sail balls on receivers and things like that. But I think talent-wise, there's no question. It's all there. He's got everything. It's the mental part. Can he take that next step? But we'll see, because now he has weapons. The rosters, I mean, I want Raider fans to really take a look at this roster. I mean, there are weapons everywhere. Everywhere. I mean, our tight end room is stacked. Our wide receiver room is full of talent. Our running backs, I mean, we got studs all over. We got a tremendous offensive line. We got continuity. This is the third year into the system. So there is no more excuses. It's either going to ball or he's going to fall.
I'm not saying that there should be excuses. But I don't think some people understand how good he is. It's easy to blame him for the shortcomings of the offense because Who else are you going to blame? You don't want to blame Gruden. Look, you don't want to blame Gruden. You don't want to blame. You can't put it on the offensive line. You can't put it on a running back or a receiver or a tight end. So, well, he's throwing the ball. It must be his fault. Unless you know for the Raiders playbook for 100% certainty, like this is what they're calling. This is 35 slant X go pop on, whatever. Unless you know it, you really can't make that comment. Like that's my like people can't make those comments. And Xavier, you're right. What happens or if Mahomes does have good backup receivers, and they do have a quarterback that gets them the ball, and you don't think a guy who grew up as a Raider fan doesn't want to win a title for the Raiders more than anything? He wants it more than you. Period. Like this guy is this guy would probably give his left nut to win a Super Bowl for the Raiders and Raider Nation. And you know what he would do? I want to thank Raider Nation for standing behind us through the tough times this year. This makes this my career, and to come from where we came from, this makes it all that much sweeter for the best fans in the NFL. That's what he would say, something like that. And you know what Raider fans would go? That's my guy, DC. Hell yeah, Carr. So if the Raiders go 1-4, what if they go 1-4, Rich, and he's thrown for 2,000 yards, 15 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions, but they can't play defense? What have they done? They haven't played defense in how many years? Like, the defense has been shitty. Let's be real about it.
Even though when it went to the Super Bowl, the defense was not that great.
Exactly. Hey, so look at Anthony Vargas. I've known Anthony since I was a teenager. We're about the same age. I think he's a year older than me. Big Ant, glad you jumped in and joined us, brother. He says he has been through too many offensive coordinators, and this is the first time he has the same offensive scheme. Correct me if I'm wrong. This is a season to prove how great he is, and the first time he really has weapons. And we've been saying that for a while, and I agree 100% with you. My point is, and it sucks that I'm saying this, but be grateful you have him, and you don't have to draft another quarterback in the first round. And you don't have Andy Dalton. You don't have the problems other teams have at quarterback, even in Los Angeles with the Chargers. And this may sound blasphemous, and I'll probably get a text from San Francisco Squeeze, but I think the 49ers have quarterback problems, to be honest with you.
I agree. Garoppolo, man, he was exposed at the Super Bowl. Exposed.
New England has New England has quarterback problems. If Roethlisberger goes down, Pittsburgh has quarterback problems. I think Minnesota, Chicago, Detroit, Jacksonville, they all have quarterback problems. That's why there's certain teams that have elite quarterbacks. That's why they're so valuable. So relax, chill, understand that. Yeah, I know 17 to 18 years it's been bad Raider football. What, 1 or 2 seasons above 500, 1 playoff appearance? I get it. You're starving. But don't be thirsty, because you have it's like you have a good chick in front of you. And you see this chick over here and she bad, and you're like, damn. Like she bad.
But she's got herpes.
And you don't know it. But your chick been riding with you, and all you need to do is put some money into her. Let's say, okay, you know what? Done. Get her nails done, get her hair did, get her toenails done. Make sure she gets waxed every other week or however long, whatever women do to do that. Make sure that she's getting her the best makeup.
Buy her the nice perfume. Don't be
and cheap. Then watch her ride for you then. And she's like, yeah, that's it. Like, my man take care of me.
It'll take your relationship to a whole new level.
Nah, he says Raider Cody behind me. Nah, Raider Cody. Look, I'm speaking for me. And I'm speaking what I see. And here's the best thing about me, if you're new to this. I'm not a Raider fan. I'll give you honest opinions from a sports journalist that covers the Raiders. So I'm just telling you like what I see and my perspective because I do have another favorite team and I have very strong opinions about them, but that doesn't mean anybody's, and I'm not saying Carr walks on water either. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying is be careful about what you wish for because let's say Carr leaves and then you have Mariota and let's say Mariota just flops. And then you have to draft quarterback or the quarterback or sign somebody and you're back to the Jamarcus Russell, Carson Palmer.
A
Who
washed
else was
up
in there?
Carson Palmer,
Andrew Walter,
Aaron Brooks,
Mike, Aaron Brooks, Matt Flynn.
Dante
Like you're back.
Culpepper,
Yeah, you're back. You're back to that scenario. You
Matt
got a guy
Schaub.
that's oh God. See, and you got a guy to stop the bleeding. So just consider that. Um, Ruse, I know you're not a season ticket holder in Vegas. Um, but them prices, man, like the after sale tickets are nuts.
Yeah, I've heard. I haven't looked into him personally, but I've heard from numerous Raider fans that the prices are just astronomical. But one thing Raider fans should know: gone are the days of like the $25 to $75 Raider tickets that you could get in Oakland. Those days are over. It's not coming back. Even if the team is in the toilet, it's Vegas. Okay, you're gonna pay a premium for tickets. So Raider fans need to stack their chips if they want to go to a Raider game. It's not going to be cheap, guaranteed. Doesn't matter if the team is winning or not. There's only a handful of NFL games to be played. The team in Vegas, you got crowds coming in from all over the country, all over the world. They'd love to catch a football game, and you can have whatever you want in Vegas as long as you spend the money.
Yeah. So Anthony, I know this answer the question yes or no with this. Have you been charged the last 3 months for your season tickets from the team? Or when's the last time? What month was the last month you were charged for, for your season tickets? And I ask this because again, I've been told like, Ruse, and you heard the same thing. It's been like 3 months since some people have been charged for their season tickets. And a lot of that has to do with the NFL privately telling people that they don't expect fans at games much before November or December, if at all, this season. And that would suck. So okay, they actually deferred his last payment until July 3rd. So this we're in May, so
That
that's
makes sense.
yeah.
Another 6-7 weeks.
So yeah, so it's been a while. So I know and it sucks because I want to see Allegiant Stadium rocking out. Like I would that place will
Even non-Raider fans want to see that place lit up.
hell yeah.
I mean,
Everybody does. I've talked to some people that actually prefer Allegiant Stadium to SoFi, whatever you want to call it. Like they think it's a better. The look is better. The aesthetics is better. The fact that it is for football. It doesn't have all the extra shit that people. This is a better stadium and design than SoFi. So I don't know if I prefer it, but I'm biased because I'm doing this now. Even though I love Cali and I'll be down in SoCal this weekend, but I'm all about Vegas right now.
it's heating up in Vegas, that's for sure.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. And speaking of SoCal, bro, did you see the Rams new unis that came out today?
Oh man, what is that?
Actually, I may be in the minority. I kind of like them.
At first glance, when I
I
looked
like
at
the
it,
helmet.
yeah, at first glance, it looks okay. And then you peel back then you look at it closer, you're like, what the hell are they thinking, man? Like, why is the ram like the horn? It's segmented. It's not I don't know. It's like the line. There's a line
Bro,
through it. Like it's two pieces.
from I think what they done is I like what they did in terms of adding their new design to their old design because of all the Rams uniforms, their LA uniforms are their best. Like I don't think there's any doubt about it. I like the how the jersey flows, the numbers. I don't like the rubbery around the numbers. So there's like a rubber material.
Yeah,
I think that's kind of lame. I was to say a
that's
different word, but I would get in trouble for saying it. um, but I like the way the pants have the one stripe. I like how it goes from like the blue to the yellow or to the white or whatever. Um, Out of all the uniforms, to me, the Chargers did the best, and then the Browns, then the Rams, and then it was the Patriots,
Bucks.
the the Bucks, and the Falcons. I hate the Falcons uniforms.
Falcons, dude, horrible.
Bro, I would have gone back to
They
the
should have went
red
to the
helmet.
Deion Sanders
Yes,
series.
the red helmet, black
Yeah,
face mask, go and use your black as your alternate. That should be the one. But
exactly.
like not even the ones they wore in the 2000s with Vic. I'm talking about go back to the 80s. That iconic
Yep.
that's the Atlanta Falcons I'm when I think of.
You got to go
Um
back to the Bill Fralick days of Atlanta Falcons football.
Brian, yeah, but Brian Jordan was on that team, but he was a part of the black. Um
Yeah, you're
Gerald
right.
Riggs.
Yeah.
Gerald Riggs was that with
Mhm.
I forget their head coach, not Glanville, the guy before him. He had big old glasses too. Marion something. Um, I forgot. Damn it, I forgot his
I
name.
know. I
Um,
mean, it's like right on the tip of my tongue. I just can't bring it up.
yeah, not Marion Jones. That's the track person.
Yeah, the Falcons. Those unis are. I mean, I'm just gonna say it. They're dog shit. I'm sorry, Atlanta fans, but
No, you're
your
not.
uniform, you're going in the wrong direction. So that
The
I
best part about the best part about the Falcons uniforms, they got a dude named Hennessy on their team.
yes, a rookie,
And Atlanta Hennessy should be the number one selling jersey in Atlanta, down
es-
south. No,
especially in strip clubs and
oh
nightclubs.
God, oh yeah, whew, man, like
Anthony asked Brian Jordan. Yes, he did play baseball.
yeah, he's with the Braves and the Cardinals and the Mets. Actually, I'm gonna give you some about Anthony. So when I got done playing minor league ball and I came back to Cali, uh, back home in IE, and we worked at a spot together. It was I right before I got in the radio, right before I got like literally like the job right before. I was only there a few months, and they had a softball team, right? And there was another office in Temecula that was gonna play the Cucamonga office. So somebody I forget some dude that worked there. I actually wasn't a fan of his until this. Anthony was like, "Yo, we got a softball team. Let's go out there." So I'm like, "All right, I'll come out." I didn't say a word to anybody. I think Anthony may have been the only one that knew that I played ball, right? Bro, I got out there. And this is before I broke my arm and I was like still in pretty good shape. Bro, I was throwing freaking peas like probably 320 feet on a rope to home just from the outfield. And then I was just roping. And could play ball too. And could play. So we ended up like smacking this team. And then we went to Ant's dad's house and got hammered, and his dad and Ant got on the grill, and it was a good time. But I'll never forget it was a Sunday. It was a good time. Anthony's a real good dude, um, genuine dude too. So that's it's the first time I've seen Ant in anything that I've done. Um, and it's cool to have him in here because it's somebody that's known me a very very long time, like a very long time. So um,
Well,
were the Raiders consider all black unis?
no,
Um, nah, they shouldn't.
is would McDonald's ever change their colors? It's iconic.
You
Like,
know,
there's no reason to change.
I like their old AFL ones. When they did the old AFL with the silver numbers and the black outline, like
Yeah,
I like those. And I like the white on white. I like that. But there's certain teams that just if you're the Raiders, the Cowboys, the Packers,
the Bears.
the Bears, the Lions, even the Lions change them up all the time. The Steelers.
The Redskins.
Yeah, Washington. Um,
So
and now the
Anthony.
chart. Now the Chargers with those powder blues, you don't change your uniforms at all.
No, your Raiders are not changing. And for Raider fans, for all you guys out there that Joe just brought up, the old AFL jerseys, the white jerseys with the silver numbers and the black outline, they used those in '94 when they had the 75th anniversary season. The reason why they don't use those numbers very often is because on television, it's very hard to make out the silver because the material is reflective and it's very close to white. So when the sunlight hits it, it's very hard to see. So that's why you don't see them wear it as a full-time jersey. Sometimes I believe in 2010, uh, sometimes they'll bring those jerseys back and they'll have a much thicker black outline so you could better make out the numbers. But for those wondering, that's a little history trivia for you guys. That's why they never went to them full time. So even with HDTV, it's not going to show up properly.
Yeah. So, um,
So I got a
we
question for
don't
you,
have
Joe.
fire away, brother.
Other than the Raiders and of course the Packers, what is your favorite football jersey of all time or uniform of all time?
College or NFL?
NFL.
Just NFL.
NFL.
Um, it's a good question. I like a couple.
There's no
I'll
right
give
or
you
wrong
three.
answer here.
I'll give you three. I
Go
like
for it.
the old pewter Buccaneers, the creamsicles. I wish they would go back to those.
The Vinny
The
Testaverde
Falcon,
days?
yeah, the Vinny Testaverde,
Oh man.
Cobb, Reggie Cobb days, yeah.
Well,
Um, my favorite all time non is those like 87, 88 Atlanta with the red helmets and the white, and then the red jerseys, the
mhm.
white jerseys and the red jerseys before they went to the black. And you know what? And I know Raider fans are going to kill me for this, but those Chargers powder blue is just those are pretty.
I like that new
I'm,
Chargers jersey. I like the all white ones. I think the all white ones look clean.
yeah,
I really like those. And believe it or not, I really love those old the LA Rams, Eric Dickerson era. Dude, those uniforms are sick. I've
it's
always liked them.
it's weird. I was talking to Arash Markazi a little earlier, and he was saying that um, he said that he preferred the old Rams. He thought the old Rams jerseys were iconic. I don't agree with that. Jeff, look, I don't care if you like don't like the Chargers ones or whatever. I get it. I'm not a fan, so I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna keep a buck with you, bruh. Not like, but if I had to choose between all those, it's the Atlanta one with the red helmet. In fact, that's the one thing. That's one of the things I want. I want to get one of those red Atlanta helmets. And then but I would like to get a Deion Sanders 1989
His
jersey.
rookie year.
Like, yeah, his rookie year, get a red one, and
There
that's
you
one of the
go.
ones that I would really that's on my list. So when like we do have the studios open up,
hmm
that'll be one of the things I want to have on the wall. Um, that and a couple other
This is a
jerseys.
Raiders show, bro. What are you doing? We're trying
Hey,
to.
I want a bow jersey too. Shit, if I'm gonna be
There you
honest, I want
go.
a bow jersey.
Okay,
Those, those
so the important thing
what?
about the Dion jersey is Jerry Curl juice mandatory or optional?
Man, look, it's gonna cost so much. They're gonna have to put him on layaway just to get it, bro. Like, what are you talking about? I want all the
Uh,
chains to go with it and everything, brother.
oh,
Um,
man. You got to go to a Halloween store to get all the chains and the glasses.
yeah, dances. That's the no, my brother Tyron Brackenridge owes you the Rough Rider jersey, and he should have them, and he's down your way in Riverside. So, and he got the same number. Dan, hit him up. But
We
speaking
got
of
to get
which, like we're about to get out of here in a minute. Um,
we got to get Ty on the show.
he's coming on. I'll get him on next week.
There
He
you
was
go.
busy. I called him today, and he was in a meeting, so that's gonna be tough today. But I'll try to get him on next week. We'll talk about he'll talk about a few things, including like money management from an
Yep.
NFL standpoint.
We definitely
Um,
that would be
so
much welcomed, information
something
for
different,
sure. Yeah.
something different. some house cleaning. Coming in the next couple next. Well, I don't want to put a timetable on it, but TQ and I, the franchise show, um, Squeeze and I'll start that show up real soon. That's gonna be um, that's gonna be one of those lifestyle sports shows. So that's gonna be a non, that's gonna be when you can't miss TV. Um, this weekend, I think I told you, Ruse, I'm heading back home for the weekend. I'm gonna take Jaleesa and drive down to see my mother and my grandmother, um, and and my uncle and my auntie and my cousin flew in from out of state, which they're brave. They're braver than me. They're braver than me. They flew in. And I said, look, I'm with it. I'm driving down Friday and gonna stay the weekend, and so I may have to hit up some friends, see some friends. Um, but going back to Upland, to you, baby. So, Rich, I'm coming home, and yeah, I'm hitting King Taco, bro. Don't even trip. Um, but what you got planned this weekend, Ruse? I know you gonna go out and make me jealous again.
Maybe I might go for a little ride. We'll see. We'll see. The roads are getting busy though, man. The roads are, especially in the weather's nice. You get all these bicyclists out there. Almost made some roadkill out of a few people last week, but we'll see. We'll see. It's supposed to rain, I think, up here.
Yeah, so that's what it's supposed to rain here too. Hopefully, it doesn't rain in the IE because I got to get into a pool. I got to get some. I got to get to the water.
There you go.
Um,
The I will say what one wild card uniform that I would like to mention. The Randall
okay.
Cunningham Philadelphia Eagles unis were pretty slick. I like that.
The Kelly green
Yeah,
ones.
the Kelly green. I like those. I think those were pretty slick. Those were
I
cool.
low key, I low key used to like the Redskins uniforms.
Yeah, those two. Those two. I
They're
just like the
sneaky good.
colors. I'm a Florida State guy, so
Yeah,
the maroon and gold. Like I don't know, it just has a sentimental. And when it's done right, it looks pretty. The colors pop.
yeah. What also was pretty good is the 1986 New York Jets.
Oh, gross.
Nah, that's another good.
Uh-huh.
Like those old school, the 80s have some pretty badass uniforms. Like they
Yeah,
were pretty good. They were
they're
pretty good. I enjoyed those.
they're definitely dated. Like when you look at them, like even Denver Broncos with the D with the horse coming through it, the colors. The colors were they went with a whole lot more. Like it's hard to describe, but it was more just like bright colors, like or bold colors, and there wasn't
Do you,
much trim. There wasn't many stripes. There wasn't. You know,
do you think that was because it picked up on TV better back then? Because there wasn't like HD and you couldn't see a gnat fly in someone's freaking ear hole.
I don't know, man. I just think it was a bunch of old white guys that were own those teams, and they're just like, just stick with the status quo. You know,
Yeah,
it wasn't until graphic design really computers and stuff became relevant that teams started to embrace that. Hey, we can actually come up with cool designs easily. So it didn't have to be hand drawn. So who knows?
Another sneaky good uniform from the 80s, the Houston Oilers.
Those were cool. I never liked the color scheme though.
I love the color scheme.
Oh
Oh,
no,
I loved it.
no it's too
That
boring.
Carolina blue and white and a little bit of
With
hint
the
of red in
red,
there.
uh,
Woo!
the logo was cool. They had the oil derricks on their helmets. Those are cool.
Yeah.
So
Okay, so I got 9 on my computer. I got 9%. So that's why I'm trying.
oof.
I'm gonna worst uniforms in the NFL back in the day. Go.
Cleveland Browns, bro. Or the ketchup, was it ketchup and mayo or mustard or whatever? Kansas City.
I think they're still the ugliest. They're the three ugliest uniforms in the NFL. And it's a tie for me. The Bears, the Vikings, and the 49ers.
Oh, the
All
49ers, yeah.
trash.
49ers, terrible.
All trash.
Especially in the 90s. Remember when the 49ers went to that new color scheme or they tried to be like more bold for like 1 year and it was just
Yeah,
dark.
with the black numbers on there.
Yeah,
And like
it was horrible. The JJ Stokes era. I mean, that was bad. Jeff said the Packers. Jeff's right on, Jeff.
Jeff, Look, man, this is week 2 for you in the show, okay? This is week 2. Just because I came on late last week don't mean that I wasn't watching. Damn it.
Jeff is the all-seeing eye. He sees everything.
Yeah, Jeff was been talking about my jersey selections.
Come on, bro. It's a Raiders show.
I didn't talk. Hey, to my credit today, I didn't talk about Green Bay at all. I purposely didn't bring them up. I
That's
didn't
true.
talk about nothing else. I stayed on the Raiders.
Yeah, you did.
Now, if Squeeze was here, I'd have been talking about. Oh, I'd have been
That's a
all over it.
whole different subject.
Anyway, man, Ruse, that's it for tonight, folks. Thank you for joining us on the Franchise Raider podcast. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube page, the Franchise Sports Media YouTube page, that is. Also, follow us and interact with us on all social media, IG, Facebook, Periscope, as well as Twitter. It's at the Franchise LV. We make sure to respond back to you. If you guys leave a message somewhere, we'll get back to you. Interact with us all over social media. Follow the staff. We the franchise Twitter account has all the handles pinned there, and get ready for a couple big shows coming up. We got some big things planned for everybody. So,
We got a
Ruse, you
lot
got
of
anything to say?
cool articles coming out soon too. There's going to be quite a few Raider stuff being dropped very shortly. So,
Yeah, in the next few days, there's going to be an article by Ashley Dickinson. She's talking about the original Las Vegas Raider, Henry Ruggs. And Jerron Turner, I don't know if it came out today or it's coming out. He has a really cool article about the construction of the Raiders. And he did a really good job correlating that between what Jimmy Johnson did with the Cowboys and what John Gruden has done with the Raiders. So there's a couple interesting articles with that, as well as Ruse's Gruden article coming out. Um, I don't think I'm writing another Raider article this week. I think I meant to put some time into some other Las Vegas sports, but um, I'll have some stuff for you as well. Um, and we love you guys, man. Thank you for joining us. You guys make this show so much fun. Um,
yeah, hopefully we'll
we
get the
enjoy
phone lines up shortly, and we can interact with you guys more.
Blame Night, Hit Night at the Will to Win at the W2W. Okay, like Hit Night and getting his ass about not being on tonight because
Rich
he's the one that's
couldn't
in
he-
charge of the phones.
Rich couldn't hear his theme music, man. I'm disappointed. I couldn't hear it.
Richie, I can't whistle like that. So, and I wish we could play it longer, but copyright reasons won't allow us to. So, and whatever. But thank you guys. Thank you for joining us. Follow us, and we'll talk to you guys soon. God bless you. Be safe this weekend. Cover up. All right, we out.
You guys have a good one.